All right, guys, we're waiting a little bit more for Instagram to go live here. Hope everybody's doing great. Welcome to Money Talk. There it is. It's going to go live right now. Hope everybody's doing great. We're coming to uh, the end of the year, and this is going to be awesome to be able to end the year in a organized and fiscal way. So if your finances are kind of a mess right now, this is the class for today. So we're going to be talking about how to best organize your finances, how to kind of clear out everything that's a mess so you can start the tax year 2024 in a better way. Sometimes we just keep putting it off for next time, next month, next week, next pay stub for us to organize our finances. And it's November 15th. We have a month and a half before the end of the year, and it's still a mess. So a lot of my clients are coming to me and saying, Anna, I don't want to have a mess when it comes time for me to go see my tax person next year. So come February 1st, most of you will have your 1099s, your W-2s, and then it's time to contact your CPA, your tax person. And then you have all these boxes of receipts and things that are not organized. So that's why it's important to get it done right now. So you have a few months. So if you're thinking of doing it, if you're doing your taxes in the beginning of the tax year, next year, you have until February to organize it. So if you start today or if you start implementing these systems, when it comes time for February, you will be done. So I hope that this is going to help you kind of figure out where you are. Put some parameters there. So if you've never taken the time to take a look at what your budget is, how to organize your finances, where to best look for options, try not to spend that much money on doing that, but getting it organized in a way that's easy for you to manage that, or make the system kind of work by itself so you don't have to put so much effort into it. This is what we're going to be talking about today, and we're going to keep it real short. We're going to try to keep it no more than 20 minutes. Okay. So every Tuesday night we get together and we talk about money. Our conversations are money talk. And if you're watching on Instagram, I save these videos on YouTube. Just find my YouTube channel and you can click on the podcast link and you can watch all the classes. So this is an effort to help people get better at their finances. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about your investments, how to organize your finances, budgeting, money management, taking care of your debt, all that stuff. So Excellence Financing is helping you figure that out one by one. There's a lot of courses out there online that you can learn so much. But when it comes time to your specific situation, there's nothing better than having a financial advisor take a look at what you have and help you take those steps. Hi, Jeanette. Good to see you. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you here. Hi, Lucia. Thank you for being here. There's some people watching on YouTube. So I have YouTube, Rumble, and Instagram on right now. I dislike doing social media. It's not my favorite, especially for topics like finances, because we don't have as much of a back and forth. People don't want to be sharing what they have in their finances. So that's why I always want to direct you to my website. You can click on the little calendar. Go to annafarrell.com. Click on the little calendar, schedule your one-on-one. We'll do a video conference where then you can ask any questions you have. There's a lot of people asking about real estate investing right now because of the market is so volatile and the rates are so interesting right now. And depends on where you are in what state you live in right now, depending on what you want to do. If it's an investment for your primary residence or if it's a real estate investment for you to purchase to make money on as investment property, there's different scenarios. So what we want to do is we want to talk to you specifically about what you are looking. I just want to share that I had a conversation with a client today regarding that. And he's really afraid of purchasing a home because of the rates. And we were able to find a way for him to have his rates lowered to 3% lower than what the bank is offering him. It's just a matter of knowing who to talk to and these strategies that are available for the consumer. So if you're not talking to a professional, you're losing opportunities. So do that. Go to the website annafarrell.com, click on the calendar and schedule your time, and then we can go over your specific situation. So today we're going to talk about how to organize your stuff to make sure that when it comes tax time, you feel organized, you know what you're doing, and you feel confident of going on to your tax advisor, your CPA, or whoever does your taxes for you. If you don't have anybody that does your taxes for you, and if you're doing it yourself, hopefully you have a very easy tax form that you fill out, a 1040, or even if you are your own business owner, a Schedule C should be super easy to fill out as long as you have the data to input in these forms for taxes. So where do you find the time, and how do you organize these things? So my suggestion to my clients is really simple. I usually have them keep everything in one file. And if you are not if you don't find that the computers are user friendly, or you don't have a system that you find that's user friendly, you can always keep a little notebook where you keep everything. I have lots of clients that just like to write things down on a piece of paper, on a notebook. So, but there's people that say, no, I don't like a notebook. I don't keep everything in order. I prefer something that is digital, that I can input that information and have it available either when I'm on the go or on my desktop somewhere. So I want to have it digital form. I don't like it paper form. So however you prefer, you need to figure out who you are as a person and how you like your things organized. And some people come to me and say, Anna, I've never done that. I don't know what's best. I'm not an organized person. I want the system that is the simplest for me. And so that's why we want to kind of go over some options for you, and then you can figure out what's best for you. But generally, you want to have a place where, if you don't want to have to be doing this all the time, you want to find a place that is most convenient for you. So do you find that it's easiest for you to have a notebook that you have? So, or do you prefer that it's something that's digital? How normally right now in your life, how do you keep your appointments organized? Like, how do you know when you have to go to work, when you have to go to the doctor, bills that you have to pay? What is the system that you use right now? That's the first question that you want to ask yourself. What is the system that you use right now to keep yourself organized with your other things beyond the financial part of your life? So your appointments, your job, your spouse's activities, your kids, what kind of system do you use to keep everything in place? And what I find is that a lot of people nowadays have Google calendars or family calendars or apps that combine all of those activities and important dates for them. And so if that system that you have that is online, or it's an app, or it's a combined file that you share with other people in your family, if that's something that is easy for you, that you can adopt your financial part of your life in there, that's something that you can do. A very big number of people use the Google products. And so if you use a Google Calendar, you can adopt the Google Drive that is attached to that calendar that you already have a Gmail account to. In a Google Drive, we'll be able to open an Excel file or a notes file or something like that, that you can keep all of your financial data right there. I will attach down here a video link of another video that I taught that shows just the drive that I have created for my clients that have used this drive. And so I'll at the end of the video, I will link the file drive link. Just a word of caution, do not use that one. What you want to do, if you want to use a Google Drive link, that's an Excel file that I'm going to share with you after this video, is I would request that you download that file or make a copy. The file that I'm going to share with you, it's a one that I use for all my students. And if you use that file, everybody will see your data. So that's open to the internet. Anybody that has that link will be able to see that file. So if you're going to use the file that I'm going to share the link with, just go ahead and copy that link, make another copy, and then save that copy onto your database and use that file as your drive to keep all your financial data. don't use the original one that I'm going to share with you because that's open to the internet. And I make for somebody else, you want to have there a page that shows all of your expenses, everything that you spend, because your income, it's something very simple. You can get that from your pay stub or your W-2 that you're going to receive from your employer, 1099. But so your income is not from a variety of sources like most people that are self-employed. So if you work for somebody else, your income is something that you don't have to keep track of because your W-2 will do that for you. But you want to keep track of your expenses, and those are the things that you're going to put on your tax return. That's going to be important for you to kind of have the numbers. If you have an Android phone or an iPhone that keeps track of your location, and you want to deduct your mileage and you want to keep your mileage, most of these devices have your history of travel. So that's one of the things that is easy for you to look down. So if you have your Google um, uh, location open on your phone, you can just go to the history and you can see the types of mileage that you used for that you can deduct. If you work for somebody else, there's very little mileage that you can deduct. If you are a self-employed, you can deduct pretty much a good portion of your mileage. So that's where you can find it. You don't really have to keep track of that. Some people even have an app that they will, the app itself kind of counts your mileage for you. So it depends on what the systems that you use, but the Excel file will have that. And then if you work for somebody else, there's very little things that you're going to put in there that are expenses that can be deductible for you for your tax return. The other reason why you may want to keep track of all of these things is because not only for your tax return, but also to organize your finances. So let's say at the end of the year, you want to know how much money you spent on groceries or how much money you spent on gas or frugal or these other expenses, for example, dining out or clothing. That type of an Excel file will help you kind of add up at the end of the year and see, okay, did I go overboard this year on eating out, for example? It's an expense that a lot of people don't keep track of because, it's $15 here, $25 there, change and tires and all that stuff. If you work for yourself, those are the expenses that you can deduct on your auto expenses. Cell phone expenses, house expenses, all those things can be put into that Excel file, and you can start adding month by month, or if you want to do it weekly, week by week. And so the Excel file that I created for you is a monthly expense addition. So a lot of people have one or two bank accounts. Sometimes you forget your receipts. Sometimes you forget where you put your expenses. But if you use your credit card or debit card all the time, then you can just go back to your statements and just go down the statement and add up to put on your Excel file. I teach my clients on the very beginning of their journey to learn how to organize their finances to use two cards. And I always say a credit card is the best one to use because you gain 30 days worth of free money, right? You spend their money and then you have 30 days in order for you to pay that bill. So you get a business credit card and a personal credit card, and you use just that. You don't use cash for anything for that period until you learn where your money goes, and then you can switch around and do whatever you want after that. But for that period of time where you're trying to figure out how to organize your finances, use those two tools because you can separate your personal and your business expenses, and then you can kind of know, but just by looking at your statement, where your money is. The vast majority of these credit cards actually create pie charts for you to show you where your money is going, your types of expenses, and then it helps you kind of figure out where your money is mostly going to. There are some places that don't accept credit cards. They will only take your debit. There's home expenses like that. For example, here where we live, the light company, the energy company, only accepts debit or ACH transfer. So I cannot use my credit card in that situation. So then you just have to make sure that you remember these things at the end of the month for you to add them on to your expense file in order for you to count that expense. We're going between people that work for themselves and people that work for somebody else. But generally, the expense sheet or the expense database is all of that. The one that I created for you, it already has the sum formulas there. So as you are inputting the information, it's automatically adding for you. So at the end of the year, when it comes to December, you have every single month already added for you. It has space for you to add things where you really don't know where to input that expense. So you can put on a separate sheet. And then when you present that to your tax advisor, they will be able to input that wherever is necessary. So let's say that you have an expense where you really don't know where, you don't know if it's house, if it's personal, if it's business, then you just put it on that second sheet and you submit that to your tax advisor, and they will make that determination for you on your behalf when they're filing your taxes for you. Now, if you work for somebody else, there's another page on that spreadsheet that I will give it to you that is for business owners. And so beyond the expense part of the page, there's also an income part of the page, because then when you yourself, you have several different areas where the money is coming in, and you also want to keep track of that. There's some income in there that you'll be able to tell the government that you're making that money, and there's some that you're going to be doing something else with it. So you have spaces in there for you to just track your income wherever that comes from. So then you can do a balance sheet from that sheet you can create your profit and losses without needing a CPA to do that for you. So at the end of the year, you have all of your income and all of your expenses. It's going to be very detailed. You can make it simpler to provide that to a lending institution, to a loan officer. Your profit and loss sheet can be created right from that one specific sheet that I created for you. The third sheet from that Excel file that I'm going to share with you the data from that came from my own CPA. And what he did is he itemized everything that a business owner can deduct. And so it shows all of the areas of your expenses that can be deducted and how you're going to put that in there. So if you're filing your taxes, you know exactly what type of expense that is. And then you'll know how to put that in your Schedule C or another form when you're filing your taxes. But if you are unsure, for example, can I deduct changing the tires? Can I deduct advertisement? Can I deduct things? So that list it kind of details everything that you can deduct. So that's one way for you to keep your stuff organized. And it makes it so much easier for you to kind of track your expenses, your income, and know when you look at these numbers and you can see that sheet and you can see I am earning more than I'm spending, or vice versa, I am spending more than I'm earning, then you can make wise decisions regarding both of your expenses, or maybe trying to find a way to make more money. If you work for somebody else and you look at your expenses and you see that you're spending more than you're making, then that's the time for you to strategize. See, okay, now that I'm spending more than I'm making, where is the money going? How can I best manage that situation to make it so I am profitable, right? So until you have something that is in front of you that you're looking at the numbers, it's very difficult for you to gauge to see if you are in the red or if you're profitable, whether you work for somebody else or if you work for yourself. When you are using just the app of your bank to gauge if you're profitable, that's not a good system for you to know if you're making money or not, if you're organized or not. Many times we pay a bill or we submit a payment and it doesn't drop on our bank account immediately. And there's a lot of people that have an issue. People that are older than 30 years don't have, very rarely they have ever used a checkbook, right? So if you have not, I'm old enough that I have used a checkbook and I've used the book ledger where you write immediately when you spend that money, you write down and then you deduct that from your balance. But if you are younger in your 30s and whatever else, and you're using your bank app to calculate to see if you have money or if you are in profit or losses, that is not a great way for you to figure out if you are profitable in whatever you're doing. So learning how to use a system, whether it is on your notebook or on your Excel file, digital, or on an app that you have. A lot of people use QuickBooks, and there's a lot of apps out there that are very helpful. Those are the things that you want to establish right away. If you right now, you don't want to wait until January the 1st to establish a new system. So when you do it today and you start using the system, by the time January 1st comes, it's already become a habit for you, and you know how to use those systems. And so the other thing that I like to note is that if you have a spouse or a partner in your household and both of you are using the same account, both of you are using the same, putting the same income on the same bank account, and you're using that, then both of you need to be using that system. That's why I believe that although sometimes it's easier to have a notebook where you're writing it down, when you have it online, that both people or two or three people are using the same system together, both of you have access to that, then it's easier to keep a good track of all that money that goes in and out. As a couple, Ray and I, when we first got married, we combined our finances. And that's something that I find is very wise. We've had that, my husband and I have had that conversation. You know, when you're a couple and you keep your finances separate, then there's an issue there when it comes time for, how much money do we really have? If you live in the same household and all the money is not going into one account and then being dispersed, how do you split that? And so that's a conversation that you want to have with your spouse or partner. But Ray and I have decided that we are working as a team. We believe biblically that we are one person. And so we don't keep our finances separate. Everything goes in the same bucket. And then because we live in the same house, we spend the same money on the car, insurance, food, all of that is equally spent. So it is our policy here in the Farrell household that we're going to put all the money that we receive in the same account, and then we're going to disperse that in our bills. So that makes us also use the same budgeting software. We use the same thing to be able to know where the money's going in and the money's coming out and how much money we have left over. And so that's an encouragement for you. If you are a couple and you have not yet taken that step to combine all of your finances, there's blessing in that. I believe it's an obedience that sometimes doesn't sound right, doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, but it is what is required of you as a couple to become one, even on the financial part of your life. And when you obey God's leadership in that, God's command in that, and you become one in that sense, then He gives you the freedom to act in a team. You're combining your efforts, you're combining your income, and you're leveraging that to grow as a team, to be more fruitful in your endeavors financially. So that's what I would have for you today to consider. Either if you're going to use a notebook, a paper notebook, or if you're going to use something that is a software that you can use on your PC or on your phone, find something that's going to organize your finances and do it today. Do not wait until January the 1st, because when you start using it today, you can actually backtrack. I have a couple clients that started their bookkeeping with our excellence services, and what they're doing is they started in September. So because they were delayed in the beginning of the year, we did September, and we did 2 extra months in September. So we did September, August, and July. We were backtracked. And when we did October, we did June and May as well. So October, June, and May. And now we're doing November. That's going to include also April and March. And when we do December, it's also going to include February and January. So by the end of the year, so the last 4 months of the year, we ended up doing the full year. So if you feel overwhelmed with the whole thing, do it weekly. Now that we are in the middle of November, do start with November and pick out. And this week you can do the full November, which is 2 weeks, and then you can do October and September and maybe August and do that. And when you do next week, you can add another month, and you want to do the next week, you can add another month. So then you're not doing the full year when you sit down. but you're going backwards. And that's the strategy that I always use with our bookkeeping business. We don't try to start in January. You do whatever it is right now and you backtrack 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, whatever you can accomplish in every sitting. And another suggestion that I would have is have the paperwork for that period all ready to go. So before you schedule the time to sit down and do your paperwork, print out your statements or open up the statements on your laptop for you to have everything on hand so you're not searching for the data while you're supposed to be doing your bookkeeping. There's so many ways to get done. If you don't know how to download it on an Excel file to be able to import that information, that's super simple to do. If you don't know how to do that, ask me a question. Go to Inbox and inbox me that question, and I can walk you through. I have videos that teach people how to do that, or you can look online too. But it's an easy process for you to just import the information from your bank account or your credit card, and then just drop that onto Excel file and copy paste that onto your expense file that you're going to use from now on. So I hope this helps you kind of get organized before the new year. Combine your finances with your spouse or your partner. That's going to help you leverage that income to accomplish so much more. And then one more thing that I want to say before I hang up. If you are not yet aware of what you're paying in finance charges and fees to companies, do that. Do that while you're doing your organization. Open up your statements, take a look and see what you are being charged percent wise. So APR that you're paying on your loans and credit cards and car and home. Look at the APR that you're paying, and then look at also what is it that you're paying over and above the minimum payment. If you have multiple loans, if you owe money and you're paying extra money to the creditors beyond the minimum payment, I want you to stop doing that right now. And I want you to send me a message, because I want to teach you a trick that's going to help you pay those bills a whole lot. So don't send extra money unless you're paying off the bill. Send me a message saying, I'm paying extra. That's it. I am paying extra. And I'm going to send you some information on how to pay off those loans and bills a lot faster without that strategy. Let's get a strategic way for you to pay your bills without just sending a few dollars extra every month. Thank you for being here. If you have any friends that want to watch this, send them the video. I'd love for you to like and support what we're sharing here. And again, go to anapparel.com, click on the calendar and schedule your time, because whatever I shared with you might not be for you, but it might be for a friend. So not every financial situation is the same. And that's why we do individualized assessments. Excellent Services is here to help you figure out what to do next. And we're so grateful that you take the time to watch these. Have a great rest of the night. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.